that targeted a group called, it's actually a website called the Christian Values Network. Has anybody heard of this? So it sounds nice, Christian Values Network. What the Christian Values Network does, it's a referral site. So if you go to CVN, it's now called CVGB because once we started our campaign, they seriously decided to give themselves a new name. But you go to their site, you can link to any number of sort of, mainstream companies. So Netflix or Westin Hotels, you can link to Expedia, and then anything that you buy on those sites after you've come through CVN, a portion of the proceeds go to a charity. Sounds like a nice idea. I mean, this is not anything new on the internet, lots of sites like this. But what we found out when we really looked deeply at CVN was that a lot of their charities were groups like Focus on the Family and Family Research Council, some of the groups that do the worst work in the US and increasingly around the world to demonize our communities, to support things like ex-gay therapy, all kinds of really bad stuff. So we thought it was bad for them to be around. We also thought it presented a unique opportunity. The way that they actually get the money to Focus on the Family is through these corporate partnerships. And in many cases, we found out that the corporations who were actually ended up supporting these groups had no idea that they were actually sending a portion of their sort of proceeds were going to Focus on the Family, Family Research Council, and some of these other groups that we would not want to support. So what we did was ask our members to essentially attack Westin Hotel's Facebook wall. So Change.org sort of joined us in this, and what we did was we took a parody of the ad campaign that Westin had just produced. It was a $40 million ad campaign, believe it or not, it wasn't that great. And we took their ad, we made a parody of it that was sort of pretty terrible. We sent it to about 5,000 of our members. We asked them to post that ad on Westin's Facebook wall and to leave a comment that says, Westin drop out of CVN, support LGBT equality around the world. And within two hours, we had sort of clogged their entire Facebook wall. We got a call from Westin Hotels, and they immediately dropped off of CVN, which was great. It was terrific, but what was more terrific was that after we did that campaign, we decided why stop there. It was actually really fun. We it's really rare, to have like an immediate victory, so we were really energized by that. So we went after a couple more companies. We decided it was travel season, and lots of travel sites have entire portions of their company dedicated to LGBT travel. They have special websites, special deals. They really market and promote to this community, and so we went after a whole slew of travel companies. After Westin, it was Expedia.com, Hotels.com, several other hotel chains, international hotel chains, and within a period of about a couple of weeks, we were able to get 24 companies, including Best Buy, Netflix, all of these travel companies to actually drop off of CVN, which then generated sort of coverage in the New York Times, in Newsweek, and a bunch of major publications, really allowing us to tell the story about the work that Focus on the Family and Family Research Council does and how terrible it is for equality in the US and also around the world. So that campaign, I think, was sort of a bit different. So it was about taking an issue, really uncovering something that journalists didn't know about, that the companies didn't know about, that consumers didn't know about, and creating a way for regular people to let their voices be heard, not only as citizens, but also as consumers, as people who might potentially, buy a plane ticket, or people who might eventually stay in a hotel in one place or another. And it was a very effective way to sort of get these sort of corporate targets who carry a lot of sway to actually come out and make a stand in favor of the issues that we care about. And I think, it was great that they dropped off of CVN. I think what was more important was that every one of them came out and made an affirmative statement about their commitment to this community, both internationally. So I thought that was really important. I'm going to stop talking as soon as I say one more thing. So I think that just a couple of things to highlight in terms of what I think we can do better and more of next, and I guess part of this is what we're working on, what we want to work on with more people. One is to do more to highlight the positive and to really tell new stories about what's happening in our communities and use those to inspire people to become a part of our movement. So we're doing this in Brazil right now with a band of what we're calling the Equality Moms. These are moms of kids who are LGBT, who are going to Congress, who are on the Pride Parade float in Rio, who are standing up and saying, my kids are gay, my kids are transgender, I love them, and I want this country to protect them the same way they protect all the rest of our kids. And it's become a sort of a really inspiring message, and it's drawing a lot of people to this movement. I think one of the things we're working really hard is drawing more spokespeople into our work. So I think for us, it's not a priority for All Out to have a sort of voice in the New York Times or somewhere else, but it is important for us to bring someone like Alison Cohn, who we're working with in Cameroon, and making sure that she's featured, you know, in The Advocate, that she has a feature piece in Le Monde, and so we're working really hard to sort of identify more spokespeople and use our connections to get not only ourselves here in the US in the news, but to actually get more of the people who are doing this work every day around the world to tell their stories, and I think it's very intimately connected to the funding in question. Last thing is that I think one of the things that we're seeing a lot of is that the world is really changing really rapidly on these issues. The public opinion is changing really rapidly. The openness to talk about these issues, to share them as, you know, as gay people, as transgender people, as straight people, is very different than it was, I think, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and I think it's really imperative for our movement to not be the last ones to realize that, and to really actually push farther and to push harder, to ask people to do more and to ask them to do it more often. Thank you.